tuning in. So today we're going to be checking out the SKYWALKER Mini RC Quadcopter. This is from, looks like HELICMAX. They have a HELIC. I haven't heard of this company before. I haven't ever done a review for these guys yet, but this one looks interesting. This is kind of like a caged little quadcopter, actually a Nano in my book. And this looks like it'd be good for beginners, you know, kids, children that can't really control things, and it's going to be bouncing off the walls and not being damaged or damaging anybody else or anything else. So this will be interesting. What we're going to do is unbox this, go ahead and do a little quick inspection of it, and then go take it around the house, fly it around, bang it into stuff, see how it does, and do a little pros and cons on it. Anyways, I will have this guy down in the description, so don't forget to check the link down there and you can see the current pricing and the specs more in depth on this guy. But without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this thing and see what it's all about. Okay, so that's it for the box there. We got this little thing on a pedestal up here. On the bottom we have looks like charger, a little charger bag, and some extra props. That's everything in the box there. We got a little manual here, a little 2-page manual, 3-page manual. Cool looking controller comes with. And here's the quad. So that's neat. So it's basically got like a little pendulum effect when it's not powered up. And we can see that it does have a removable battery. That's neat. So pull out the battery here real quick and see what this is all about. So this is a 3.7 volt lithium polymer battery. It's not saying any kind of milliamp, but it looks like possibly around 300, maybe 200 milliamp hours. I'm not sure what that is. It doesn't even say anywhere in the instructions on that one, but I'm assuming that's, you know, 1 to 200 it looks like. I'm not seeing any indication of how many milliamp this battery is, but you know, for a kid it doesn't really matter. They just want to have fun. Anyways, we have this little mini connector here on the end to charge it. As you can see there, that's the connector. And in this bag we have the charger, which has that same female side connector, and then we're going to plug this into like a cell phone wall plug type of charger or a computer. And then we just have 4 extra propellers, which is great. They include in the box because, you know, kids are going to damage their propellers. Anyways, take the battery out and it's kind of floating upside down. So let's go ahead and put that battery back in and just inspect it a little further here. So kind of neat, man. It's got this big old cage around it. The cage is really light and flexible. You can see how flexible that thing is. Just kind of moving around. So I'd imagine you can really just hammer this thing into walls and kids aren't going to break it. We've got an orange body here. It's got some venting on the bottom to cool off the battery. Kind of an interesting design. Some venting on the top to cool off the circuit board, and kind of like a point in the front. And basically that's it. I mean, you know, propellers look like they can give it some good lift. It looks like a little larger than like a Cheerson CX-10 propeller because they are a little bit wider and they got to fight through all this wind resistance here on this cage. And the arms are just kind of coming out of the body. It looks a little flexible. You can see that flex there. So a lot of flex. They're definitely not brittle, and they're going to flex a lot. So even if you do fly this into stuff really hard, it looks like it won't break. Just kind of pulling this thing out. It looks like you can take this thing off if you wanted to. So you could pull all this apart and take the quad out of its cage if you wanted to fly without the cage installed. But we're just going to fly it in the house with the cage at first. Maybe I'll do another flight in the same video here without the cage and see the differences. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the controls. So we have on the top left fly run mode. That's interesting. So that may be a mode where you can just kind of drive it on the ground. It'll just kind of roll without actually flying. And that's kind of neat. We've got a right hand is going to be our flipping. So it does flips if we press in this button up here. And of course we've got our forward, back, pitch, left and right roll to control it. And then we have our trimming for said functions. On the left stick, of course, this is our throttle to make it go up or down in throttle. And then this is our yaw, so it can turn left and right. And this is our yaw trimming, and then this one up here is saying it is a speed setting. So on the throttle top trim, it's saying speed setting here, and on the throttle bottom trim, it's saying automatic mode. So I don't know what that means. We'll have to check that out in our flight test. It looks like this one does have a screw in the bottom, so we're gonna have to use our own screwdriver. They don't include a screwdriver, at least they didn't in my package, to unscrew this. You're going to need to provide a Phillips screwdriver, but I don't think you're going to ever be able to, I don't think you're ever going to need to put that screw in again, because it looks like it's just going to be snapping in. Let's see if we can take this screw all the way out, actually. Yeah, so get rid of that screw. And then it does take 4 AA batteries in the controller. Looks like there's a speaker on the back, and that snaps in nice and tight, so I don't see you having to put that screw in ever again. Looks like it's snapping in nicely. Cool, so this thing definitely looks like it's going to be fun. Let's go ahead and take it out into the living room and do some kind of flying and bashing with this thing and see what it can take and how it does. Kind of neat how it has that fly and run mode, so I'm assuming that's a mode where you can just drive it and it won't fly, and also a mode where you can just fly like a regular quadcopter. So let's go ahead and see how this thing flies. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this thing a little plug in here and give it a house flight and see how this thing does in the house. So just plug it into the back there, and I'm going to go ahead and switch it on with this little switch here. There we go. So we got some flashing going, and then let's go ahead and turn the controller on. We see that we have some different kind of blinking. Let's go up and down on the throttle stick, and it looks like we're ready to go. So okay, first off, let's go ahead and just try to launch it just as it is and see. Whoa. Okay, see how it goes. Wow, neat. Okay, so this apparently is quadcopter flying mode, so we're just flying around here. That's kind of neat how the wheel is kind of spinning around a little bit while you're flying. It looks like the wind from the props kind of make it spin a little. But anyway, this is, I guess, rate 1, so I'm going back and forth here. Just do a little yaw here. You can see the lights in here. It's kind of the early evening, and the lights are really prevalent here. We got greenish on the back, and then a nice orange red on the front. So orientation is rather easy. Let's go ahead and do a yaw here. So that's our maximum yaw in this rate. I believe the switching the rate will be top left. Let me try that. Whoops. Nope, I think that's car mode. Okay, this must be ground mode. So when you go ahead and click in this top button here, you're going to hear 1 or 2 beeps. 2 beeps is apparently ground mode, where if you push the throttle up high, it basically will not take off. It'll just kind of roll around on the ground. So that's mainly for, like, you know, probably hard floors or kind of carpeted floors like this. It looks like it's kind of hard to get going in a carpeted floor. But apparently this is kind of like just rolling mode, so you can still kind of roll around. You see how I'm rolling and I'm going ahead and turning with the right stick. Oh, neat. Okay. And you can actually go faster and slower. So that's actually really cool. It's kind of just like bouncing around a little bit. Looks like when it does start to get kind of off center, it will just kind of crash and fly away. But you really just have to give it like barely any throttle here, and then all you're doing, well, actually just full throttle, and all you're doing is going back and forth. You see how the right pitch and roll are making it go back and forth, forward, back, and then right and left with the but you see how what happens when it, oh, that's neat, when it does kind of get out of hand there, it tries to self-level itself. So anyway, that's what you can expect for car mode. Let's go ahead and go back into 1 beep on the top for quadcopter mode. Lift off here. And let's go ahead and see what happens when we press the right trigger. Okay, that's a flip. Alright, so we're doing flips by pressing the right top. It looks like it can only do like a forward flip or a back flip. I'm not seeing any side flipping abilities. So forward or back flips. And let's see what else we can do here. So the throttle trim up, I hear 2 beeps. And then 2 beeps back down. So I think that's the rates. So rate forward, back, left, right. That's the maximum speed here. And there's our yaw. And then if I push in the top, there we go. Okay, so yeah, the top throttle trim, you can see how much faster that rate is now. And it's allowing us to fly a lot quicker. So that's really cool. You can have 2 rates of flight, even with this cage on here. Let's try and press on the down. I'm gonna go back into rate 1 and press on the down button there. That looks like it may have been a return to home. Let me try that again. Yeah, I don't know what that's doing, but it's going way over there. So apparently if that is a return to home, that's getting skewed somehow if you just press down on that throttle trim. Or maybe it's trying to do some kind of weird large circle. Maybe if you're in a park you could do that. You see how it's kind of turning, it keeps turning and going that direction. So that could just be some kind of auto flight circle or something. Let's try to do that and let it just bounce around on its own. Yeah, so it's doing a circle. Whoa, okay. That's kind of neat actually. It's automatically circling and I'm not even touching it. That's cool. Let's just see what it hits and does. Let's autopilot. Wow, that's actually really neat. I like that actually. That's a feature you don't normally see in these kinds of crafts. So we're gonna start hitting things and okay, so it got stuck, but hey, no damage to anything because it's got this little cage on it. So apparently the cage is working very well. Very impressed so far with this little cage here. And it seems to me like that's about all you can do. But that's all you'd really want to do for this little trainer Nano here. Of course the right trims. This thing is pulling a little bit to the left. So let me try to trim it out to the right. There we go. So that was easy enough by just hitting the right trim a few times. It's also kind of going forward on its own. There's no wind in here. But I just wanted to try to trim it out so it flies a little more level. Of course it's going to be a little influenced by this cage on it. You know, anytime you have stuff around the props like this, there's going to be more influence than usual and drifting and stuff. So, you know, I'm not being too picky about this. But look at that. That's awesome. I really like this little thing. This would be perfect for, you know, a really young child or anyone, even to an adult. There's our blinking lights for low level, battery level. Even an adult that wants to just, you know, fly this thing without having to worry about breaking the props every time they fly. This thing is really awesome. So I'm just going to fly it until it drops. That did seem, you know, 5 or so minutes of flight. I'll try to get that those numbers pop up on the screen when I do look at the video. So it's going down on its own now. I have throttle full up, and it went ahead and just kind of stopped and shut its own props off, so it looks like it won't kill its battery. So that's great. It has auto low level shut off. So let's go through a little bit of a pros and cons here. I'd have to say, man, I thought this thing was going to be a piece of junk initially, but you know what? Complete 180. It flew great. It's got that neat auto feature where it does an auto circle. that was really awesome. It's got 2 rates of flight, which seem perfect. You know, it gives it more speed once you get better. It didn't have left and right flipping, but it did have forward and back flipping. Then it has that little car mode where you hit that top trigger and then you're using the right stick to go forward, back, steer, turn left, and turn right. And that actually seemed to work really well. Once it does kind of lose its balance and its bearing there, it starts to bounce around and try to level itself, and then you got to kind of pick it up. But if you had kind of a smooth surface, you know, you could have lots of fun with it, just rolling around, driving it, and then switch into quadcopter mode, back into quadcopter mode, and fly it around. So really impressed with this guy. Don't forget, I will have the links on this little thing in the description of the video, so you can check out the current pricing and also all the specs and stuff in the link down there in the description. So I hope you really enjoyed this review, guys. This one was really fun for me. Complete 180 on my thoughts on this thing. I think this would be excellent trainer little drone with this little crash cage. Really fun to fly, and the cage really did not hinder it in any ways. If anything, it gave it some more capabilities. But anyway, hope you liked the review, and don't forget to check out the channel. I do a lot of reviews like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.